1 time in. 0-0. Point.
Heavy third early for Zane Ford.
And notice he opted for the short cross-court roller rather than the down-the-line rip.
1-0.
As we were talking about in the beginning, it's those reads, quick anticipation reads, that's going to kind of settle the difference between the two of them. Zane making a great read there with the forehand counter. What a passing shot by Zane there, inside out, curved it in to James's backhand side as James was trying to approach on that shot.
3-0.
Rolled in a beautiful third. Zane Ford on a mission, 4-0 start in game 1.
So notice Zane's grip. You'll see so much spin coming off of his paddle, and it's not just the paddle itself, but check out the grip that he has. It's pretty extreme on that western side, but giving that serve a little bit more arc and dip and even creating a little bit more curve on those thirds that he's been hitting right now with his forehand. As you heard James there saying wow, because he was able to dip that again super, super fast and short on that inside-out forehand pass.
5-0.
Quick timeout taken by James Ignatowich. It's like drinking out of a fire hose to start here against Zane Ford.
Telling himself, got to keep it away from the forehand, got to keep it away from the forehand. Don't want any more of that quick dip action. Ooh, I guess he's got that dip on the backhand too.
Feathery touch of the 6-0 paddle of Zane Ford.
So that's got to be a lot of left hand by Zane on that to get that to dip like that and get the grab that he got. Notice he took a bunch of pace off too. Forehand again with that whip. Dipping right when it got to James. I think James is going to have to sit on that a little bit earlier, take that ball a little bit earlier to be able to get a good counter on it. If he waits until it gets too close to him, that ball is already down at his waist. Below his waist, actually. Kind of slid a little bit there when he pushed off hard on that left foot for the backhand counter, or the backhand passing shot.
Feathery touch from Zane Ford. We're in pickle territory here, 8-0. Zane Ford leading and unrelenting
8-0.
with his pressure.
Ooh, another feathery touch shot. Michelle, speaking of feathery touch, notice how James is ready positioned, though. This is one thing I always like pointing out to my students is he's always on his toes. He's always jumping up and down, up and down. That intensity is going to give him the ability to push off at whatever point he wants, right when he sees where that ball's going.
Point.
Love that move.
Volley off the backhand touch, earned the pop-up chance, got himself back to recovery quickly.
So one of the things James is known for, kind of like Hayden, is they like going for body shots sometimes on that quick flick. Watch Zane as he kind of dodges that, gives himself space, pops right back with his forehand counter.
Game point, pickle point for James Ignatowich. Right off the baseline. I think Zane Ford's going to challenge that. Yeah, I would. That looks like a grab that, in my opinion, we'll see.
His ball's been dipping pretty fast today.
Yeah, drier conditions here in California. We've been spending much of the last month in humidity, lots of heat. Ball was playing much slower, and then you move to the California side of the country, drier.
That ball is James Ignatowich.
1-0. Point.
Another deep serve by Ignatowich, hitting the back of that line there. Zane unable to pick that one up.
2-0.
Went off speed down the line, and Zane Ford is on it.
That is not an easy shot to execute with that type of precision. He was late on that ball, but he was able to loosen his wrist and get a little snap back cross court, short angle.
He being Zane.
Zane being the one flicking that ball.
Side
Nice
out.
return from Ignatowich. He's one of the best servers in the game in Ignatowich. Who would you identify as some of the top servers in that category, Walter?
2-0.
After this point.
Side out. 0-2.
Nice.
Side
Took a
out.
little bit off of it. Off pace. Speed up can do the job. Any thoughts on top servers in the game other than
2-0.
James Ignatowich?
Yeah, Zane's up there with his serve, nice and deep. You'll see Jack Sock with his serve, nice and flat though, a little bit different of a style.
2-0.
You'll see him a little bit later playing Donald Young. Donald Young has a pretty loopy serve with his lefty serve. But those are some of the good servers in the game.
Side out.
Chris Hayworth, another one, big server, big dude, big game.
Last year's gold medalist at this event.
0-2. Side out.
So one of the downsides for having that extreme of a Western grip on that side is the grab that you'll get on some of those balls once they take off the ground at your feet, because it has to have more time
2-0.
on the paddle face, and it just sometimes will catch the frame.
Point.
Ford seemingly cooling off here in game two. Ignatowich earns a short return, doesn't matter. Zane Ford cleans up at the net.
What a counter on his part. Nice short swing, getting to that ball early. Great contact.
Elsewhere in action, Christian Elshon taking on Jonathan Medina Alvarez. That's a good matchup.
0-3.
Posted on the scoreline there.
Yeah, Christian's actually another one of those great servers of this game. Helps him out with a lot of points, starting up on those points.
And Rafa Leonard taking on Zane Navratil.
3-0.
Court, we'll keep you posted on that one. Rafa, the player that took out Ben Johns.
Point.
Taking place over on Showcase Court number 6. You can catch all the action on the Pickleball TV app. Meanwhile, James
4-0.
Ignatowich terrorizing Zane Ford to start here in game two.
Side out.
James discussed it with himself, hitting the tape there. But he had the right idea with the pass.
0-4.
Great counter by James there, who's waiting, sitting on that ball early, which gave him the ability to hit that ball with that type of velocity to the back corner of the court.
James seems to be returning to the forehand on the even
4-0.
side of Zane Ford. Interesting to note. Nice pass cross court the other way from Ignatowich at the baseline. Take another look.
Notice Ignatowich getting nice and
Timeout
low
receiver,
through that acceleration of that
5-0.
backhand, giving him really good control.
Time.
5-0.
Nice. Ignatowich with a slapper and another point.
So if you'll notice, the tide's kind of turned here a little bit with Ignatowich gaining control and offense in the second set. First game was all Zane
6-0.
with his aggression coming up to the net early. Now it's James's turn.
Nice.
What a flick by James out of the air. Really tough ball to execute. Super loose grip to be able to flick it with that kind of speed while moving to his left and taking the ball out of the air with one hand.
7-0.
bizarre scoreline here. 8-0. James Ignatowich working Zane Ford after being pickled in game 1.
8-0.
And we're about to see a counter pickle here if James keeps up what he's doing.
He serve. Hits him with a drop, and then Zane Ford finds some off speed on the angle.
Notice his hold there. He actually didn't strike the ball right away. He kind of held the ball up, or held his paddle a little bit, trying to see which way James was going to be leaning, and just went right behind him on that inside-out pass at about 50% speed.
Zero 8.
Once again, that soft roll by Zane, which helped him so much in that first game. I think he's going to be probably going back to that shot a lot more, try to work his way back into the second game, being down 1-8. Ooh, a little bit of a missed hit there by Zane, but you kind of see what he was going for on that cross-court roller. But like we were mentioning earlier, that grip is sometimes a tough one when it comes to clean contact because it's so extreme Western.
8-1.
Got to hit that thing perfectly. Wow.
Full command of the kitchen for James Ignatowich. No pickle in sight.
And that's one of the things James does a really good job at, taking the ball, taking a really short backswing, holding it really loose and just whipping it through to get that type of an attack ball from that short a distance. He's able to do that on both wings, actually. We saw the backhand one earlier for a put away.
So the tee, Ignatowich chokes up on the third, ball back to Zane Ford.
And he's going to want that one back, too. He had positioning there. He was hitting an approach shot, actually passing shot. He was just standing a little bit too tall there for a ball to clear the net.
1-9. Side out.
Footwork there by Zane. A little bit lazy on that footwork.
9-1. Point.
Nice ball from Ignatowich, game point. Chance to push this one to 3.
Game point. 10-1.
Nice return, heavy serve from James Ignatowich. Takes the second, 11-1, completely flipped scoreline. And James Ignatowich forcing things to a third. Here's a challenge on the missed return. I think that one is deep and it's going to end the same either way. Here's Mary Navy with the final verdict on the call.
On court stands, the ball was out. The result of the rally is 11-1 point game. Timeout, change hands.
All right.
0-0.
Serve up the tee for Ford. Sends the third long, though. Ball right back to James Ignatowich.
0-0. Side out.
So that's what we're kind of want to see from Zane there on that two-handed counter. That second game, he was hitting some one-handed backhand kind of floater reset counters. That one, he took both hands on that and just completely slammed it back with a full-on swinging counter.
Just deep on the serve for Zane Ford. Quick side out for James Ignatowich. And Zane's going to challenge early. I'm not sure about
that one.
Challenge here.
Well out. Not even close on that one.
And especially to burn it this early. We saw it a couple of times yesterday. He's wrong on this, which I think he will be. He burns that free challenge, and then if you're wrong again, you enter into technical warning territory, and that's also if you miss a call down the stretch. So we will see.
Not sure if this was almost like a pop.
After video review, the call on court is overturned. The ball was in. Loss of a free challenge. No free challenges remaining. One free challenge remaining. Resume play at 1-0. Time in. 1-0.
Side out and a beauty on the forehand side of Zane Ford.
2-0. Side out. 0-2. Point. I'll watch it.
And Zane Ford complaining about the serve of James Ignatowich.
It's a very common thing that a lot of the pros are looking into with other pros that have big serves. Deckel has been one that's been called out a couple times, like lifting it a little bit on that drop to create that leverage to get the pace they get on those serves.
2-2. Side out.
And that's a funny thing too, even just calling that out, not necessarily getting a point from it, it puts it into the opponent's mind that the drop is maybe illegal and it might cause some errors like you saw there from James.
Pop-up chance, and Zane Ford earns it, hits it home, takes back a 1-point lead.
And that's that aggression we were talking about earlier, how James got back into this match from the second game, taking balls out of the air in mid-court to create that offensive positioning.
Speaking of out of the air, Zane Ford earning a few pop-up chances. What's he doing to create that pressure?
Getting those nice low dipping balls at James and then just crashing early and hard, taking that next ball out of the air, not even giving James the chance to let it bounce to get back into the point.
Side out.
Doesn't bounce up for Zane Ford into his strike zone. Ball back to Ignatowich.
And that's that Western forehand grip that gives it some issue with balls that take off the line like that. It's really hard to see the face of that paddle when it's that extreme. Ooh.
Side out.
Off the tape is Ignatowich. By the way, Rafael Leonard up a game right now on Zane Navratil, excuse me.
4-2.
To pay off the big win against Ben Johns. Nice punch volley to the corner, sets up the winning touch for James Ignatowich.
And that's that two-handed backhand counter that we were talking about earlier. That's helped a lot of players right now in their singles games be more aggressive rather than that backhand one-handed reset or one-handed put away. That two-hander gives you a little bit more firepower on those put away balls and counters.
Wow.
Side out.
The Western grip pays off that time on the forehand side. Ford runs around it.
Yeah, you live by the sword, die by the sword with that grip. It's either an amazing shot or if one catches the line, comes off funny, it's not a very forgiving timing or form to be able to adjust to.
Nice unpredictable touch from James Ignatowich. Showed he was going line, gets Zane Ford leaning, hits it the other way.
It was kind of unorthodox there where he went for the cross-court pass instead of down the line. Most players go down the line with that one.
Wow.
Point.
Inside in that time in the transition area. Ignatowich had the chance to tie it. Rafa Leonard up 7-0 against Zane Navratil in the second. Looking for a round of 16 appearance. Cal Poly tennis product.
Zane electing to go with that old tennis tie my shoelace technique to take some momentum off of Ignatowich's run. Yeah. So if you watch Zane Ford's forehand on that passing shot, the majority of the time he's going to go up that line across his body, run around that backhand and just pass. He's done that 2 or 3 times now in this game. That's probably the read I would make when you see him coming in with that forehand. See, you want to
Side
force
out.
him to try to pass you on the backhand side because his inside-out forehand is a little bit sketchier than his
3-4.
across his body to your forehand side's passing shot.
Zane's.
Zane's. That one right there is what he wants. Ooh.
Set, point. Four. Point.
And we serve again from Ignatowich, pays off.
5-4. Point. Timeout, change ends, 6-4.
And James Ignatowich will get to 6 first, will flip ends. Zane Ford will head back to the side where he almost got pickled in game 2. What's jumping out to you so far in this one?
I think I would have liked to see Zane on that backhand. As you saw, he kind of shook his head after that point. The shot selection on that, he went for the backhand rip. Should have gone for a shorter, softer roll.
Murray will square off against Georgia Johnson today.
Side out.
A little bit too aggressive there is James with his backhand approach shot. But that's kind of what he needs to be doing, taking control of that court, taking the offense early, taking it to Zane.
I correct myself, Murray actually lost to
4-6.
Georgia Johnson already today. 11-6, 11-5, credit to Georgia on our way to the round of 16. It's battle of the kitchen, won by James
Side out.
Ignatowich for the side out. Zane Ford also had to withdraw from the MLP event in Daytona Beach a couple of
6-4.
weekends ago. Go to the ER. We hope his health remains okay. Ooh,
Point.
just wide there. Ignatowich stealing the show for now, 7-4.
So as we were talking about earlier, looking for Zane, forcing him to hit towards
7-4.
Ignatowich's backhand on that pass. You don't want to give him that forehand to forehand passing shot. That's what he's been kind of banking on
Point.
his points that he's won on that forehand side.
The body language of Zane Ford
8-4.
not too great at the moment. Ooh, too much.
Side out.
Winner of this one will face Jaume Martinez-Vic or DJ Young in the round of 16.
4-8. Side out.
It's a good approach by James, attacking Zane's backhand there, nice and deep. Zane's backhand doesn't have quite as good of a pass as his forehand does.
8-4.
Wow.
Point.
Ignatowich, on the other hand, pretty powerful off of both wings.
Yep. Loves that two-handed backhand. Really good at measuring his pace, too, on both shots. Knows how to pull some juice off of it when he needs to. Needs to mark a pretty big upset here in the men's
9-4.
singles draw. Make it
Point.
match point for James Ignatowich. Federico
Timeout,
Staxrud
receiver,
is on to the round of
10-4.
16 as well, by the way. Timeout taken by Zane Ford. Last push here. And in summary, where has Zane Ford gone wrong at the close of this game 3?
You see him shaking his head there. Just every once in a while, he's been catching some of that frame on the forehand. When he was successful, he was actually hitting it solid with the short rolls, going cross court, across his body. James kind of picked up on that a little bit, coming in off approach shots to Zane's backhand and cutting off that forehand cross court pass to force Zane to hit that inside out one. And you'll see the Ignatowich serve coming into play here, nice and deep, giving him a huge advantage right off the bat at the beginning of the points. James looking to repeat what he did in their last matchup, coming from behind after losing that first game to pull the next 2 games. See if he can do the same thing again here.
Match point for James Ignatowich, and match point right now for Rafa Leonard over Zane Navratil on an outer court. We'll keep you posted if he can pay off that big win against Ben Johns, the 4 seed yesterday in the round of 16.
No timeouts, 1 free challenge.
The sky's the limit from there. Have Noe Cliff or Mo El Houni in the next round for Rafa Leonard. But right now it's all James Ignatowich in this big moment at match point. Nice. Did Zane Ford. So much topspin.
You notice that cross-court placement again. Short cross-court, which is where he went to with great success in the beginning of the match.
Nice spot for Ignatowich. Right back to it. Match point number 2.
Again, Ignatowich approaching to Zane's backhand side. Look for him to do that again on this play.
10-4.
Wow, James Ignatowich takes the match in 3 again. And a snapped paddle by Zane Ford, frustrated with this result. And that is a massive win for James Ignatowich, who gave himself a big come on, Jimmy, at the end of this one.
He deserves it. Notice the patterns, like we mentioned at the beginning of the match. Attack that backhand twice in a row to end the match. Great play by Ignatowich and great heads up.
The 46 seed knocks out the 10 seed and moves on to the round of 16. He will face the winner of Jaume Martinez-Vic, the 5 seed, or DJ Young, number 38. Coming up next for us, it's Kate Fahey, the 2 seed.